Yours truly building up the courage to explore a cave in an inflatable raft lit by a tiny head lantern. The group reassembles. The mouth of the cave had many sandbars full of slippery stones, tricky to navigate over, before connecting once again with the Sojourn River. My attitude shows on my face, tired, wet, and confused. Not being fluent in Bahasa Indonesian, I was a bit disoriented at first. I was content staying on my raft. Only the guides said it was easier to walk to where the stream widened before continuing. So I waited approximately 80 meters with inner tube in hand before plopping down in the water. I tried to ignore the 10-ton boulder beside me that must have fell from the ceiling sometime in the past. I sure wouldn't want to be deep inside this cave when an earthquake struck. Never know what kind of crazy material might rain down on your head. Our guide gets us lined up in chain formation. Should I be nervous how much he seems to be staring above us? Bats? Fallen rocks? Low-lying stalactites? I vote for all of the above. Even under the dim light of our lanterns, these waters shimmered a greenish hue. Honk, honk. Human road train coming through. Parts of this cavern were so low you couldn't stand up in them if you tried. I was in awe of the raw beauty of the Goa Lanang. It appeared like marble, but I knew better. This was all igneous rock, not metamorphic. Curtains of material flank either side of this great cavern, in my mind resembling a pair of immense tonsils. Not unlike Jonah, we were all venturing inside the throat of a leviathan. I liked it when the cavern opened up substantially. I tend to be claustrophobic, and this came as a great relief to me. An immense piece of scoria blocks half the width of the passage. It appeared an enormous, dull wedge of Swiss cheese. Tidal pool. One of the guys pointed out a break in the side of the wall. I swam over and hoisted my legs in these shallow waters. They were unusually cold. Again, somewhere above us, some water was percolating down through fissures in the crust to feed into this tiny pool. Very relaxing. Those blurry blobs of light don't look like much, but I'll take them, because they signify the end of an extensive cave tour. Don't be fooled by that weird mist effect. It was an electronic aberration, just an illusion. The cave exit at last. I was both relieved and saddened to experience our cave departure. I'd be lying not to admit that somewhere in the middle of this cave, I started getting a little panicky. It seemed to go on and on forever. I mean, what if there was a rock slide and you were blocked from egress? Not the way I want to leave this world. What a shame that this lens has got water in it. Big freaking cave, man. Looking at the series of photos, I believe I have a theory on its formation. I believe this amazing cavern was indicative of a large lava tube. What made this so interesting is that it was bilateral or branching out symmetrically, but in opposite directions. Not long after this material was ejected, it created this natural conduit. At the far end, on high, a body of water was introduced on this anti-syncline or hill. This penetrated the eastern side and ran due west to discharge at a lower elevation. It's likely these waters snaked their way through the lava tube for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years, polishing the insides like glass. And now here we were, viewing Mother Nature's amazing work in progress. Look up at the sky, buddy. Look up to the left and then pan down. This whole video?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good. That looks real good, honey. Keep going, honey. Look to your left. Oh. Here we go. Look at the water, knucklehead. There you go. Okay, watch. that looked so cool coming out, didn't it? Okay, you can stop it, honey.
Not pretty here.
Stop the video.
Just a minute. Pretty here.
I'd be remiss not to mention another harrowing misadventure. It seems just after emerging from our creepy, inky black, seemingly endless cave experience, Welland managed to capsize her inner tube. And adding insult to injury, our precious $400 Olympus camera went bye-byes. I try not to be upset about this, but damn. That meant all of today's images and videos were still inside this thing. As the saying goes, you can replace the camera, but you can't replace the content. And so, the hunt for our irreplaceable camera had begun. So, what didn't look like a big river before, sure looked expansive as heck now. Thankfully, I came somewhat prepared. Having read up on submersible cameras, I had learned, from helpful others, that by attaching a small flotation device to these was the bee's knees in terms of loss prevention. I will gladly go on record to say this was hands down the best $8 investment ever. Our Olympus, being rather heavy, was prevented from sinking like a rock by this adept floating camera wrist strap. Plus, its thoughtful day-glow orange color augmented to this float thingy a super visibility factor for locating it, for exact scenarios like this. After an agonizing 20-minute search, I was almost ready to call off this search and move on, albeit minus our submersible camera. The very same camera that survived an entire Niagara Falls trip back in 2014. Then it happened. One of the relentless searchers held up something shimmering in the air. Even 50 feet away, I readily identified our signature red and black Olympus. Praise Allah, or God, or whatever deity heralding from your particular hemisphere. Look at that, man. I can fly! Woohoo! It was serendipitous for most of these ceiling photos to come out so gorgeous. These walls and ceiling looked like polished marble for the most part, and that was with a so-so flash camera. But that shouldn't be the case. I had an idea. No offense to our wonderful Green River tour guide people, but one thing I thought would embellish their tour experience would be the professional installation of some tasteful lighting inside the Goa Lanang. There are countless wonderful formations in the Goa Lanang, but unfortunately, without adequate lighting, these are largely lost on the majority of visitors. There would be many obstacles to light installation: how to string lights in such a long tunnel, how to power the dozens or even hundreds of lights this would require. With no nearby power grid access, they'd be better off with a clean generator somewhere nearby that blended in with the surroundings and was easily refuelable by truck. To incentivize this concept, perhaps the owners of Green Canyon Tours should adopt the business model of Penn's Cave and Wildlife Park, situated in Penn State, Pennsylvania. They receive tens of thousands of visitors each year. With ticket prices $18.50 per adult, $10.50 per child, this seems quite the lucrative enterprise. All that for a brief boat tour of an all-water limestone cavern.